Hello, gorgeous.
No one's fun anymore. Whatever happened to fun?
You are listening to the Drag Dungeon Podcast with your hosts, Jay and John.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, your favorite podcast. You asked for this shit. If you're easily offended, we don't recommend it. You asked for this shit, so here it is.
Not since Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark has there been such a scandal on Broadway. As you all know by now, Lea Michele is taking over the role of Fanny Brice in September. After Beanie Feldstein, otherwise known as Monica Lewinsky, you may know her as Monica.
Yeah.
From American Scandal or whatever that was on Netflix or Hulu, has left the show. Now she posted to... First of all, they brought Funny Girl back. I didn't know Funny Girl hadn't been on Broadway in over 50 years, or since Barbara was in it, Barbra Streisand. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I saw that. I'm like, dang, I wonder why. It makes me think something happened that caused that to happen, like there was some sort of legal disputes or something. Like, because that's weird, because that seems like something that you would think, you know, would come around every once in a while.
Right. Or maybe Barbara was just so good, they're like, nobody else can do this.
I don't know. They try to squeeze, I mean, every dime out of shit that they can anymore. But it's true what you're saying. Like Barbara was Barbra Streisand. Barbara, can you hear me? Yeah, she was, the penultimate. Ultimate? Yeah.
I won't, not try to get too sidetracked, but I think that Barbara missed, one day while she was doing Funny Girl. And that's when that actress, Lea Kazarian, not Lea Kazarian. Somebody, because she played, if you remember The Nanny, the roller rink episode.
I'm thinking.
And she played, like, Sylvia's nemesis or something.
Oh, yes. That's Aunt Frida.
Yes.
Yes.
She took over. She was, like, her understudy or something, and that's how her career started.
Yeah,
is filling in for Barbara for one day. But anyway.
A lot about Barbara from The Nanny.
Exactly.
Right, and Barbara's sister was on there, and, Fran's, obsessed.
Yeah, she's a hilarious actress. But anyway, so Page Six is reporting, sources say that Beanie Feldstein was basically fired, quote, from Broadway's Funny Girl before abruptly quitting the show publicly on Twitter in a move that blindsided producers. I love this drama because it's like, did she quit? Did she get fired? Feldstein, who played the lead role of Fanny Brice, announced via social media on Sunday she would leave the show July 31st, just 4 months into a contract that was supposed to last an entire year. So it started in April. She was supposed to be in it for a year, and she's already leaving. And her quote says, Beanie's post to Instagram says, once the production decided to take the show in a different direction, aka a successful one, I made the extremely difficult decision to step away sooner than anticipated, Feldstein 29 said in her bridge burning post. And the direction, it seems, was away from her and toward replacement Lea Michele. And sources say that following poor reviews of Feldstein's performance and declining ticket sales, producers turned sour on the star and fell off the Beanie bandwagon. Producers basically fired her, says a source. Which I believe.
I don't know. I have some conspiracy theories about this because everything I read, Lea Michele has been auditioning for her whole life to be in this show.
Right.
So I don't know. I have some conspiracy theories that I won't go into. But with entertainment, if somebody isn't, cutting it, they will fire them. That's how it happens when TV, movies, whatever.
Anything with a big budget.
Anything with a big budget, they'll fire you. If you read anything about actors, every actor, it seems, has been fired from some job. You got cast and it's just not working. Your chemistry with the other actors, it's not like the show. I don't know if they shut shows down. I guess depending on the size of the show, they could shut it down if the actors aren't working. I mean, there's different things that can happen. So it's not shocking that Beanie Baby, that's what I keep wanting to call her, Beanie got fired. It's just this is high profile because Lea Michele, who everyone believed to be canceled, is now back in Broadway.
Which I can't wait to get into our predictions and speculation about will the show work with her in it? But as far as, let's make it clear, we're not Beanie haters at all. We barely know her. She seems great. She's so cute, talented. I did look up because a lot of people were saying she can't sing, or her voice is not up to snuff for this part. I mean, who sang it before her? Barbra Streisand. Who the hell is
going to? For Christ's sake, I know, right?
Who can live up to that? So I looked up on YouTube clips of her singing, which we can't play here, but go ahead and do your own research. And her voice is fine, but it's just not Barbara this. I mean, it's fair. People have described it as community theater singing. So she can sing, and it's fine, but this is a huge role.
Yeah, and lots of Broadway shows, they'll the actor they start with sort of sets the bar,
right?
And everyone has to try to live up to, like Idina Menzel and Elphaba from Wicked. Like every person who came after her was being compared to Idina. They just were. There was no question that
even
was
50 years later,
Yes, even now.
Wicked has never stopped running. This has been a total reboot of the show, but people are still like, but Barbara.
I know. No one's ever going to be better than Barbara. Everyone's going to compare to Barbara. It's like that with any of these shows.
So
but,
let's wrap up the Beanie portion, because she really is the innocent party here, I feel. So she basically wanted to, I feel personally, in my opinion, that they said, look, it's not working out. We're not selling enough tickets. And the rent on those Broadway theaters is expensive. They have to keep paying it. They've got to sell those tickets. Otherwise, the show is just going to close. And they are cutthroat when it comes to closing Broadway shows. If something is not making money, they're like, bye. Sometimes things don't even open after they spent all the money on rehearsals, costumes, actors, sets, etc., promotion. And after previews, they're like, nah. So...
Well, and you have to know that, Broadway loves stunt casting. I mean, look at Chicago. Chicago's had so much stunt casting. It's like the show is like secondary to who's going to be in it.
Yeah.
So if Lea Michele comes sniffing around and they're like, she's canceled.
That's a much heavier role, though, than anything in Chicago.
Well, yes, it's true. But still, it's still a stunt cast.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
she is totally capable. But... so farewell, Beanie. We do think you got fired, and I think you just tried to post that to save a little face on Instagram, and that's fine. And we wish you good luck in your career. Now let's move on to the star.
Yes, Lea Michele, who we're here to discuss.
Oh, we forgot to mention Jane Lynch was also in the Beanie version, and she is coincidentally leaving right before Lea steps on stage.
Yeah, that's very interesting because Jane Lynch was on Glee with Lea. So even though Jane Lynch, what I've read, says Leah's going to do a great job, so it doesn't sound like there's bad blood there, unless
She's just being nice.
That's very possible. So we know that Lea Michele, we thought that Lea Michele was basically canceled because of her behavior on all of the shows that she's been on, not just Glee. There's been articles out with interviews from cast members, which we're going to get into, where they've had bad experiences working with her. I mean, to the point where people were questioning their careers. They were like extras saying, which we'll have all this, because there's a great article in Variety that basically breaks down every person
that she's offended, from the parking attendant, craft service, extras, fellow castmates.
They're interviewing her hamster and her parakeet.
her orthodontist is pissed.
Yes, everyone. They're interviewing and they said their experience with her. But, so... We know that Lea Michele was on Glee for 6 seasons. She played Rachel Berry, which Rachel Berry was an extremely annoying character, the Glee that I watched. And it was fun to dislike her. She just seems like that. She seemed like that theater kid that was just so into it that everyone would have hated. Like, that's how Lea Michele always came across. And I love Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers kind of really hated her and made fun of her all the time in her performance on the red carpet and stuff, and thought she always looked like an asshole. I loved when Joan went in that way. But, Glee, one thing, and this has been talked about before, the Glee curse. Like, all of these bad things have happened to, all of these cast members. Like, Naya Rivera, she passed away. She supposedly drowned or something in the lake. And Mark Salling, he had a child pornography thing, and he committed suicide. And Corey Monteith had a drug overdose. And then now, Matthew Morrison got fired from his job because he was supposedly having an affair, whatever that So You Think You Have Talent, whatever that show he was a judge on. So there's this curse. And then Lea Michele got canceled. And what kicked it off is Lea Michele posted some Twitter post about Black Lives Matter.
Uh-oh.
And that, like, hit some nerves. And the first person, really, that came forward was Samantha Ware, who I think I stopped watching Glee before she came on because I did not know who that was.
Yeah, maybe she had a smaller part or something.
I don't think it was a huge part, but so Samantha Ware like piped out a Twitter post, saying, actually, let's see, I have it right here.
And she's black, by the way.
Yeah, she is black, and she's, just for the record, she's gorgeous. Like, I didn't even know what she really looked like until I super investigated this. Well, one of the quotes from what she said, and I'll find the whole thing because I thought it was right in front of me here, but it's not. As she said, I remember when you made my first television gig a living hell, because I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone if you had the opportunity, you would shit in my wig.
Which is so... I remember reading this the first time and being just taken aback at how crass and horrible that was. I mean, I didn't expect Lea Michele to be nice, but to see I want to shit in your wig, that's a very specific... I almost feel like she really would do that.
Yeah, that is a very specific thing to say. And Lea Michele, she did have a response to it. And the one thing we'll get to with this post once I find it. Oh, here was the rest of it. Amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question her career in Hollywood. So that's part of it to consider, is that Samantha Ware was like wanting to quit acting and
give up on her dreams
flee because of this interaction with Lea Michele. That was how bad it must have been. And then Lea Michele responded in Instagram, and with a lengthy apology statement, she said, "While I don't remember ever making this specific statement."
Girl.
I'm like, you already crashed in the first 5 to 10
already
words.
failed. We
It's
already
over for you.
know it's a lie.
And it says, and I've never judged others by their background or color of their skin. Pause for dramatic effect. That's not really the point. Also, another pause for dramatic effect. What matters is that I clearly acted in ways which hurt other people. So that was her apology, which...
Why was she doing a blanket apology from one accusation? She should have addressed this directly to the girl and been like, girl, I'm sorry, I was in a bad mood that day. I said I would shit in your wig. It was ridiculous, and I am so sorry. She could have squashed it, but no. That denial pissed off. All of a sudden, all those other actors started lighting up.
Yes. They all started coming out from the woodwork and every show she's worked on. So Amber Riley from Glee.
Love her.
Yes, I do as well. She stood by Ware's comments and she said, let's see, what is her quote here? I'm not going to say that Lea Michele's racist. That's not what I'm saying. That was the assumption.
I love that shade.
That's what.
I'm not going to say she's a
racist. Of what's going on right now in the world, and it happened toward a black person. And what I like about this is she says this twice. Then she says, "I'm not going to say that she's racist." I love that. That's that whole this. I'm not going to say she's racist. I'm not going to say she's racist.
Look, I'm not going to say she's a horrific asshole who nobody should ever hire again because she's a fucking monster. I wouldn't say that.
Right. I thought about how I'm going to say I hate that tie look, that she's a dumb bitch. That's my Jimbo quote. She's a dumb bitch. I'm not going to say that. Okay, so anyway, y'all dragged her for a couple of days, but at the same time, in my inbox, there are a lot of black actors and actresses telling me their stories and letting me know they have dealt with the same things on set, being terrorized, she said terrorized, by the white girls that are the leads of the show. That is, harsh.
Heather Morris came out. Did Naya Rivera ever come out and say something about her?
Yes.
They hated each other.
She did. I don't know if this list included her or not. I don't know if it's because maybe she passed away. But yeah, Heather Morris, she said, well, just to the point here.
She played Brittany on the show. I do remember that.
She played Brittany. She said, let me be very clear, hate's a disease, blah, blah, blah. With that said, was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for as long as she did, I believe she should be called out. So that's...
Do you think the Glee, former Glee cast has a group chat just without Lea and they're like, here's what we're going to do? Because it's so crazy that they rallied like this.
It really is.
Actors really don't come out against other actors, rarely. And we love it when they do, but they really don't. It just looks bad.
Right, and when it pours out of this, actually not just the same show, like across everything she's done. Like Alex Newell was in Glee, who came out and said, you know, that Alex, I don't really know Alex that well, supports the statements, basically. That's basically kind of the bottom line. But then other shows that Lea Michele worked on, Yvette Nicole Brown, I guess she worked on The Mayor, and she was referring to Samantha Ware's comment because it was all in caps. She said, I felt every one of those capital letters.
Okay, so we're up to like 6 people that have talked trash about her publicly.
It just keeps going. Gerard, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Canonico from Spring Awakening.
Yeah.
Said, you were nothing but a nightmare to me and fellow understudy cast members. You made us feel like we didn't belong there.
Yeah, she called them cockroaches. The background actors.
God.
Cockroach. She said, get the cockroaches out of here.
So, and this one actor who was in one episode said Lea Michele wouldn't let him sit at the table with her in the cast. This quote from Davier Snell says, girl, you wouldn't let me sit at the table with the other cast members because, quote, I didn't belong there. Fuck you, Leah.
So like a literal high school scenario.
Oh my God.
You can't sit with us. You're a cockroach.
It's crazy. And then Scream Queens. Did you watch Scream Queens when it was on? I love Scream Queens.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, I love that series with Emma Roberts, who I don't know that much about Emma Roberts. I don't know how pleasant she is in person, but it might be just the character.
She seems cool to me. I think she's just good at being a bitch.
Maybe.
But I remember hearing when Lea Michele was going to get killed off on Scream Queens, and I was like, I'm watching that episode.
That's the episode to rewind.
Like Helen Sharp.
So Abigail Breslin, who was on Scream Queens, liked the tweet, I guess, or one of the tweets, and said, not everyone agreeing that something felt off about Lea Michele. Where have y'all been? I've been saying this for years.
Okay, we're up to like 8 people. 8 or 9.
Insane.
Abigail Breslin, who seems like a sweetheart. So it's not like
I agree. If you piss off someone who really, really comes across as the nicest person, what are you doing, bitch? So Matthew Morrison, he made a comment on it too. Who, you know, he played Mr. Schuster on Glee, and we just mentioned him because he got fired. Look up that. I don't know what that.
The teacher that was way too close to all of his students.
And way too insufferable to deal with.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it at all. He said, I honestly think it's a distraction of the bigger issues that are going on right now. It's kind of like, you want to be a good, pleasant person to be around. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Oh, okay. Fill in the blank. That's okay. He's still trying to get work, so.
Well, especially now, because he sounds like he's heading to Cancelville. But it's very shocking that she would, you know, display all of this kind of behavior in all of these shows. And then Broadway, who is obviously thirsty, they must be struggling or something to like bring her out from canceled obscurity. And one thing to mention too is Lea Michele, if you look her up online, it doesn't seem like she has done a lot lately. Her albums have like failed. The last one she put out didn't even chart from what I could find at all. And
she did put out. I bought one of her singles. Like her debut single was like called
Battlefield song?
Cannonball.
Oh, Cannonball.
But the thing is, I think it came out like right when Wrecking Ball came out, and it was just too many balls.
Oops.
We got confused. Let's give credit where credit is due. One last thing before we move on to the Broadway segment about casting Lea Michele. Remember when after Naya Rivera drowned in a lake, that was so sad, and like the whole Glee cast went out and like held hands and had like a little memorial for her by the lake, and guess who wasn't invited?
Of course she wasn't.
So.
And you know, it's funny, I just read that Lea Michele, she supposedly celebrates, has a moment for Corey Monteith, like at the anniversary of his death. And I read online that they were together when he passed away, and I also thought that they were not. So I don't know, there's like some mixed message whether they were dating when he passed away or not.
They were dating in real life?
Yeah, they were dating. Yes, they had a relationship in real life. And I thought they had broken up all this time because I had read that. But then I just read today that they were together. They had just started dating when he passed away. That is not how I remember it, but that's fine. Whatever.
Does she have an alibi? I'm kidding.
Don't go there. You will
totally,
you will get me
totally
started on
kidding.
my conspiracy theory.
Okay, so let's talk about the reasoning for and how our predictions for how this is going to go with her on Broadway. Obviously, they know. Let's not take away. She is an incredibly good singer. I've only seen her act on Glee, and that's kind of the corny acting, but she seemed like a fine actress. Do you think that she will do well in this role? And do you think that people will go to see it?
Well, I think it's, again, stunt casting. I don't care if she can sing well and she can sing the songs. It's still stunt casting. I think people will go. I think this hitting the news and talking about this so much.
Initially, anyway, they might. Initially.
Yeah, it's probably because she's like a white girl and everybody will, like, I don't know, suddenly feel sorry for her for some stupid reason and go and support the show. I don't think she's a good actress. However, she has done well on Broadway in Spring Awakening and whatever else that she was in. She's done well.
And musical acting is different than,
That, yes, for sure. And knowing she has that talent for stage, I think she'll do well. And I think people are just quick to forgive these stupid girls like that. And that people will go. I do think that.
I think so too. I would go just to see. But I think initially, my question is, how long is that going to last? Will this show be around for an entire year, or are they just going to close it? Because who are they going to put in there after Lea Michele? Or will she stay in it for till April of next year? I'm very curious to see the ongoing saga. I can't wait to read the reviews. I'm going to be up all night just waiting for that review, hitting refresh.
Oh, yes, I'm ready for that, too. I hope it's some reviewer that hates her that writes the first review.
Because, Fanny Bryce is a character you're supposed to be rooting for.
That's a big problem with casting someone like this, is you do have to root for the character. You have to fall in love with the character. And when you have somebody who's completely unlikable and, frankly, insufferable, as the lead, how are you going to convince people to like her? There's other actors that we won't name them all that have had this problem, like Katherine Heigl. She's had this problem. She's completely unlikable, and her career has sucked because nobody likes her. And there's been reports that she's a bitch that came out when she was on whatever that show she was on TV. So it's like, how are you going to get people to like her? I don't know.
That's why I always say unlikable people convicted or accused of murder or violent crimes, put them in Chicago because it fits the character. Katherine Heigl would be great in Chicago.
Well, I'm telling you, if I were Lea Michele and all of this shit happened to me and all these people said they hated me, that I'm a bitch and an awful person, I would immediately go on a rainbow tour like freaking Evita. I would be like, cutting ribbons at Piggly
Reading
Wiggly.
to children.
Feeding children and walking children in nature. I would be, helping with Habitat for Humanity. I would be doing everything.
She should be in Ukraine fighting, frankly, I think.
Sure. Shove her on the front lines of some war or something. Like, I would be
singing Rain on My Parade while she's, firing an AK-47 on enemy lines.
Don't rain on my parade. Right, while she's, feeding the starving children in the streets of I don't know where. But yeah, I would be doing that rainbow tour if I were her. But she hasn't. She just put out some shitty albums, had a failed music career. Look at her. I was looking at her, the albums that she's put out, and, Wikipedia is what it is. But it had, the charts on her albums, and they have done so poorly. It's just shocking.
Nobody cares.
It tells you how much people don't like her and how unlikable she is.
Well, and after Glee, it's I was over. I've heard enough of you singing.
Glee was like a plague upon humanity. I remember watching when it first came out, I was tolerating it. And there was actually a couple of songs on there that I really did like. I liked that zombie song they did, She's Not There. I think that's what it's called. And then that cute moment of Kurt and what's-his-face, Chris. Well, I don't remember their names. But he did that Katy Perry song. With he saw the
cute moments.
So cute. There's some cute moments in there, but it just brought some really obnoxious people and some tragedies out of that show. It's just
okay. One last question: if and when this crashes and fails and burns, and they end up having to close Funny Girl even earlier, what should she do then? Go to Chicago? No, not kidding.
I'd be in Chicago. I don't know. What could she?
Celebrity Big Brother.
Dancing with the Stars.
Celebrity Fat Camp. She'd have to put on some weight though.
I'm Celebrity and Naked. Out of Here, whatever that is.
Dancing with the Stars, I think, is perfect for her.
Dancing with the Stars. Maybe she can host. Maybe she can take over that host that, I don't know who did it now, but Erin Andrews started that whole thing, like become that person, maybe. A judge on one of those voice shows. Like, I can't believe she hasn't done that. Like, she hadn't kicked Christina Aguilera off. I'm, like, really behind because I don't watch The Voice, so excuse me if there's, like, been, like, 5 other judges since then. But, like, been on that show. Like, I'm surprised she hasn't done that.
I think this is her last chance at...
redemption.
Yeah. I think after this, it's reality show, Chitlin Circuit level shows. She'll be on Celebrity Boot Camp. You know, she might be a Real Housewife. I wouldn't
She'll be on that celebrity... They'll bring that Celebrity Magic show.
Celebrity Bachelorette.
Celebrity Bachelor. Okay.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares, yeah, any of those.
The Steve Harvey Show, Family
Judge
Feud,
Drag Race.
Yeah, like the real bottom of the barrel stuff. Doing cameos.
Sure, I was thinking like Will and Grace. Was she been on Will and Grace? I wonder if she's been on Will and Grace.
I don't know if those overlapped.
Maybe, just curious, because every person who was feeding to the certain audience was on Will and Grace. Yeah, she's gonna do, but. You're right. I think this is her last chance.
So anyone listening, if you're planning on going, if you're getting your I think the tickets are on sale, make sure you get the date that she starts in September. I think it's September 9th or something. Check and make sure. You don't want to see the understudy. You don't want to see Beanie, although I'm sure she's great. She will be leaving. So get a ticket for September because we are not going to make it. And please give us your full review. We'd love to have you on and hear all about it.
Absolutely. And I think one last thing about Lea, her best choice doing this show is when she's rehearsing, when she's, stay in your dressing room, girl. Like, do not talk to anyone unless it's something small. Like, just don't try, because I have this feeling that everyone's going to go in hating her right away.
Oh, yeah, she better watch her P's and Q's, because...
she absolutely should.
Get to do what Dolly does. Know every single person's name on the production, the guy that does the lights and pulls the ropes. Every single person. Know their name, bring them a little gift.
Yeah, please and thank yous, for sure.
When they have those birthday parties for whoever's birthday it is, bring that fucking sheet cake in, light the candles, start off the happy birthday. I mean, really go the extra mile, because this is it, baby. This is it.
People are going to be talking to the media as soon as it's over. If she's a big bitch, those people are going to be on, Access Hollywood or, BuzzFeed or whatever saying, she was a bitch again. They're going to trash her. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
We will see. So we want to thank Manscaped again for sponsoring us. Go to manscaped.com/dragdungeon. Use our code DRAGDUNGEON. For 20% off and free shipping, and be a member of our Patreon. Our Patreon is popping. We've been doing multiple, but usually we have at least one bonus hour-long episode or more each week. It's $3 for a month. We already have about 50 in the can. You will love it. Patreon.com/DragDungeon. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening.